In this problem set, we will be working with adding and subtracting fractions together. So let's take a look at our first question. We have 3 over 8 plus 2 4/5. So our first step is to turn any mixed fraction into its improper fraction. So we have this mixed number of 2 4/5, and we want to turn this into its improper fraction. So now we're going to have 3 over 8, and then we have to turn this into an improper fraction. So we take our denominator of 5 and multiply it by the whole number out front. 5 times 2 gives us 10, and then we add on their numerator. So 10 plus 4 gives us 14, and then we keep the same denominator of 5. So now we need to add these two fractions together, but we can see that they don't have the same denominator. So that means we have to find the lowest common denominator between these two factors. So the lowest common denominator between 8 and 5 is 40. So we multiply 3 over 8 by 5 and 14 over 5 by 8. Now 3 times 5 is 15, and then 8 times 5 is 40. So we have 15 over 40 plus 14 times 8, which is 112, all over 40. Now we can add our numerators together because our denominators are the same. So 15 plus 112 is 127, and our denominator is 40. And then we can turn this improper fraction into its mixed number. So 40 goes into 127 3 times, and then we have to find out what is left over to find our numerator. So 3 times 40 gives us 120, and 127 minus 120 gives us 7. So 7 is our numerator, and 40 is our denominator. So the improper fraction is 127 over 40, and its mixed number is 3 and 7 over 40. Now let's look at our next example. We have 4 minus 5 over 6. So we don't have any mixed numbers, but we do have this 4 that's by itself. So instead of writing out our 4 like we did, we can write it out as 4 over 1. So the denominator is 1, and then we subtract it by 5 over 6. So to subtract these two fractions, we need to find a common denominator. So this 4 over 1 can easily change to have a denominator of 6 if we multiply the top and bottom by 6. 4 times 6 is 24, and then 1 times 6 is 6, and then we subtract that by 5 over 6. 24 minus 5 is 19, so we have 19 over 6 as our improper fraction. And now we want to change this into its mixed number. 6 goes into 19 3 times. So we put our 3 out front as our whole number, and then we have our fraction beside it. To find our numerator, we have to see how much is left over after we put 6 into 19 3 times. So 6 times 3 is 18, and then 19 minus 18 gives us 1. So that's our numerator, and our denominator stays the same at 6. So our improper fraction is 19 over 6, and our whole number is 3 1/6. Next we have 3 and 4 over 5 plus 8 and 11 over 20. So again, the first step is to turn all mixed numbers into their improper fractions. So let's start with this one. 5 times 3 gives us 15, and then 15 plus 4 gives us 19. So we have 19 over 5, and now we're going to add this to this mixed number. 20 times 8 gives us 160, and then 160 plus 11 gives us 171, all over 20. Now to add these two fractions together, they need to have the same denominator. So we need to find a common denominator between 5 and 20. Well, if we multiply 4 by 5, we get a denominator of 20. So let's multiply our left fraction by 4. 19 times 4 is 76, and then 5 times 4 is 20, and we want to add that to 171 over 20. Now that they have the same denominator, we just have to add our numerators. So 76 plus 171 is 247, all over the denominator of 20. Now we can turn this improper fraction into its mixed number. 20 goes into 247 12 times, so that's our whole number out front. And now we need to find out how much is left over. Well, 20 times 12 is 240. And then 247 minus 240 leaves us with a numerator of 7, and then our denominator stays at 20. So we have our improper fraction of 247 over 20, and then our mixed number of 12 and 7 over 20. Now our next example is 1 and 1/8 plus 6 and 1/12. So again, let's turn these mixed numbers into their improper fractions. 8 times 1 gives us 8, and then 8 plus 1 gives us 9. So we have 9/8 plus 12 times 6, which gives us 72, and 72 plus 1 gives us 73. So we have 73 over 12. Now we have to get these denominators of 8 and 12 to be the same. So we have to find the lowest common factor. Well, the lowest common factor of 8 and 12 is 24. So we multiply 9/8 by 3 to get a denominator of 24, and then we multiply 73 over 12 by 2 to get a denominator of 24. So now we have 9 times 3, which is 27, over 8 times 3, which is 24, plus 73 times 2, which is 146, all over 12 times 2, which is 24. Now because they have the same denominator, we can just add our numerators, and 27 plus 146 is 173, over our denominator of 24. Now we can turn this improper fraction into its mixed number. Well, 24 goes into 173 7 times. So we write our 7 as our whole number, and then to find our numerator, we need to find how much is left over. So 24 times 7 is 168, and 173 minus 168 leaves us with a numerator of 5, and our denominator stays the same at 24. So our improper fraction is 173 over 24, and our mixed number is 7 and 5 over 24.